Hi, it's Elizabeth. I'm in between classes right now. It's funny, the studio light is just shining down on me. This is gonna be a pretty emotional video because I've been wanting to talk about this, but every time I do, I keep breaking down. I've been offline lately because my cat has been sick, and I just kind of wanted to talk about kind of maybe some life lessons that I've learned from this cat, and just the reminders that the divine is always in control. I found a cat. My cat Smittens passed away last Wednesday, and she was kind of my first cat that I got as an adult. I had a childhood cat that I said goodbye to. I wasn't there during the euthanasia process. My childhood cat ended up getting kidney failure because this fucking prescription cat food that she was on, I guess, was found in a pet food recall with like arsenic, and a bunch of cats just got kidney failure from it. And as somebody that doesn't eat meat, I get really emotional when it comes to animals, especially because I just finally saw my first cat die. And I just want to talk a little bit about like the divine role that pets play in our lives. And it's really challenging for some people. They can get over it. I've been moving on pretty well, but it's also really heartbreaking and sad. I want to first share how I found Smittens. Smittens was a cat that I found in graduate school with my ex-husband. I actually went to go meet my ex-husband on campus. We were both in graduate school at the time at the University of Toledo in Ohio. And for some random reason, I decided to park in a completely different parking lot and part of campus that I never parked in. I don't know why, I just did. So I met him. It was a beautiful summer. Well, technically it was spring. It was early June. But it was kind of this beautiful spring summer day, technically spring because it wasn't the summer equinox yet, or summer solstice. And he decided to go home early, and I was gonna sit on campus, and I thought, you know what? I think I'm gonna leave with you. Like, forget schoolwork for today. Let's go back home, because I met my ex-husband in my apartment building. He lived above me. I was apartment 5, which was my life path, and he was apartment 3. He was born on December 3rd, so there was a ton of divine interconnection stuff through there. And I decided to leave with him, and because I parked in this different part of campus, we started walking back to my car, and we started to hear this little yelp, and I'm like, what is going on? So my ex stuck his hand in a bush and pulled out this little black kitten with a little white star on her chest, and so I brought it back to my apartment. My mom and my sister work with animals, tried to, figure out what to do with it, and I just decided to keep it. I kind of wanted a cat, but I didn't know because of graduate school. You can see what I've done to my eye because I broke out in a rash because of so much crying and wiping my eyelid. And I've decided to keep Smittens, and I named her because I was so smitten to finally have a kitten that I named her that. And she was an Aries cat. I got her around 8 weeks old. She was kind of nursed back to health because she was severely malnourished. I mean, I don't even know if she weighed she may have weighed like a pound. She was so fragile during that time. And anyways, this cat is, she was my first one. She had a little bit of aggression. She was a really sweet cat, but had aggressive behavior. And I kind of felt that if I didn't keep this cat, eventually it would get euthanized, or if it went to another family and scratched a kid, like the cat would have died. So I kept her, and she moved from Toledo, Ohio, to Walla Walla, Washington, to Tacoma, Washington, to Seattle, to Germany, back to Seattle. And I had another cat that I got when I was in Walla Walla. She was definitely more affectionate, like one that I really wanted. But little Smittens just loved fresh water. Like, she was just always either in the sink or after she would lick water off the side of the bathtub when I used to take a bath, or just lick water off of the shower curtain. And when Brandon and I moved in together, she just was so freaked out about living with a dog that she just kind of stayed in this back room. Our second bedroom we live in an apartment, but it doesn't have any windows. So I kind of felt some things happened, that getting no natural light and really not a lot of fresh air kind of hindered this cat, because this cat loved my former balcony. She used to just sleep in the sun. She used to sleep outside on the balcony on the chair. I never worried about her leaving. She was not a destructive cat. She had aggression, but she also had some very sweet qualities to her. And she started losing weight in August of last year, and I kind of noticed it, but I kind of put it off because I just went through so much shit with losing all of my jobs in October between the Washington State Jay Inslee mandate. State employees lost their job, and then the fucking county and city screwed me over by making it only vaccinated only people, and I just kept putting it off because I feared money. And finally it got to the point I had to take her in to get her shaved because she just kept puking up hair, and noticed some issues, but it seemed like it was nothing major. And I don't know, I just kind of noticed her sleeping a little bit more lately, and I was like, God, I think I need to take this cat in. And so 2 Tuesdays ago, she puked up some liquid and there was a blood clot in there, and I'm like, okay, I need to take this cat in. And the day that she puked up the blood clot, I had a dream about her, and the dream, I don't know if I grabbed her by the paw or we just went everywhere. It was such a joyous, happy dream. We just went from place to place to place, and she was happy and healthy, and I was happy and healthy, and we just had such a fun time. And I couldn't quite figure out what it meant. I kind of thought oh, maybe she's on the mend, trying to heal her. And then, is it last week? I don't even know what week it is. 2 Saturdays ago, so a few days after she puked the blood clot, she just stopped eating. And that was concerning because she was losing weight. Took her to the vet on Monday. They're like, oh, get her these meds. They messed that up. That stuff didn't come in. And so it was last Wednesday, the 23rd of May, and I noticed her breathing was getting really shallow. And I said, I think we have to take this cat in immediately to an emergency vet. We pulled into the emergency vet. I back up for a second. I kept trying to heal her, and I couldn't tell if she was dying or if she was trying. She finally left that back room last Monday and joined the entire family, which was something that we wanted. While we were all eating dinner, we were at the table, the 2 cats and the dog were underneath, and it just broke my heart. And she came out while I was teaching one of my at-home yoga classes, and I thought, shit, man, maybe this energy is really helping her. I couldn't tell. Now I know, looking back, that she was trying to tell me she was ready to go. And so we take this cat who's emaciated, and we go to this emergency vet, and they're still doing curbside pickup. And so we pull into parking spot number 5, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm that's my life path number is 5. And then the cat's in there, and the woman calls and says she's in critical condition, hours away from dying. If we do anything, it's going to be $5,000 to $7,000, and this might not go really well. She finally followed up with an ultrasound that found pretty much cancer cells. Her lungs were filled with fluid, and cancer cells looked like what most likely would have been cancer cells in her lungs. That would have been lymphoma. Meanwhile, I don't know if it's stress, because when I channel stress, certain parts of my body start flaring up where I've had former injuries. So throughout the last couple weeks, I started having really bad throat and lung pain, similar to how it felt when I had to wear the N95 mask when I was exercising in 2020 and 2021. And so we didn't know what to do, but at that point, cancer just seemed like a dead end, because she's like, you know, you can go through all this chemo, which I would never put myself through chemotherapy, and I would never put my animal through chemotherapy. And it sounded like she only maybe had like another half a year to live if she survived all of this stuff of getting the fluid drained from her lungs. And so we wanted to go and see her to kind of make a decision. And I walk back and I see my cat on a ventilator, and it just broke my heart. I couldn't do that to an animal. If anybody knows what the fuck ventilators have done to a ton of people with COVID the last 2 years, you know, you don't want to see this to an animal. So it kind of seemed like a dead end. And I'm like, I just wanted her to die at home, because she was such a loyal cat. I could leave my front door open and she would never have left, because she loved being at home. And so they take us back to exam room 14, which is the apartment number I live in. It's also my favorite number. And I'm like, fuck, this is it. And as I watch this cat she just, before the euthanasia was about to happen, she just started purring. She started purring, and I knew that she was loved, and she loved my fiance. She was deathly afraid of men, but just loved my fiance. And and just hearing that purring, I kind of knew that it was time. And the euthanasia process is 3 shots. And I saw her stop breathing before the overdose drug was even injected into her. And then the vet said she's gone. She checked her heart, and I looked at the time, and it was 12:38, which is a number. I remember being in Greece, and I looked at the Pantheon at 12:38, and I said, I'm home, and I just started crying. And I was born at 2:38 in the afternoon, and so there was just all of these things happening. And as I've had these conversations in my head about the divine process of these animals, and certain things just happened. Like 2 hours after she died, I was like, I just need a sign. And I got a sale from Etsy, and the username was AngelHearts22. And I just broke down, because this cat came into my life in the spring. She died in the spring. Her birthday is two weeks away, April 7th. She would have been 13. And it was just so hard watching this process happen, because it's like you're just taking care of it. And as I've gone through all this emotional thinking of it, I just knew, I just kept telling Smittens, I'm like, I really hope you had a good life, and I really, really hope that I gave her a chance. And I felt like I did that. I gave her a good home. I probably shouldn't have. I should have, there's always these regrets when you go through loss. It's the same as divorce. Like, wow, I should have spent more time, and I should have did this. And so every time you learn these life purpose lessons, the goal is to not continue to repeat the same mistakes. So it's like I need to take my other 2 pets very, very seriously in terms of when certain signs come up, but also just going through this daily appreciation. There was a moment when I transmuted the energy from grief into celebratory, like, thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for being there for 12 years, my entire adult life, from grad school till now. I'm 37 years old. It was a very long time that we were together, and I took her, to Europe and back and across the country. And those are the questions and things that I guess one can go through when they lose a pet. But I guess part of this was just these moments. I don't know if they were signs. I guess when you're in desperation, you want signs to feel comforted. And I felt that now that I saw some things, I thought maybe she was trying, but maybe it was just trying to kind of go over and cross over. And there were so many other thoughts that I wanted to talk about that now I can't think of it. But it was just maybe too also trying to appreciate some of the modern veterinary technology that can maybe relieve an animal from suffering through the natural way. It just seemed like it was her time to go. I don't know if the soul chooses to go and the physical body starts to die, or just the physical body just gets whatever, because everything is so contaminated, our water, our food, that the physical body just starts breaking down, and then the soul decides to go once things are, you know, really off balance, out of harmony, and in pain. And I just kept telling this cat, like, I was so sorry I didn't take care of her, and then I got mad at the system, because the system has screwed me over so bad that I was worried more about money, and I didn't want to rack up a vet bill. You know, if we did try to rehabilitate her, which we were trying to do, it would have been probably about $7,000. But when she did the ultrasound and found cancer, it kind of seemed like a dead end at that point. And losing her kind of just brought back how precious life is, and how everything is divinely in control, the control of coming into our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Obviously, pets are seasonal and or for a reason. They're not lifetime companions, unfortunately, because of their lifespan, but it's just one of those things that it's like dealing with a human who is an outcast or a misfit. You know, they just want to feel loved, they want to fit in, they want to be accepted, and I think Smittens was able to get that opportunity, because she would have just been another quota, lower rung on the list, that she probably would have just been euthanized. And I don't want to think about things being transactionary at all, like when something goes, another thing comes, abundance-wise. But I don't know, she's brought me a little bit of luck over the last week, maybe because I've come to realize these certain divine things. But she is going to be very, very missed, and our pets have chosen us probably for a specific reason, or, you know, our souls have been connected on some different level in other lifetimes. Like, my other cat is so glued to me. The cat's like a dog. Like, you can just say her name, Snickers, and then she comes over. And I know with Snickers, like, she and I've lived before. I actually went to like a pet communicator a long time ago that said I was a man and she was a dog in another life, so it kind of makes complete sense in that realm. But that dream that I had, I was just hoping that she would just be off to a better place, and why modern vet stuff has to be so expensive is just another reason why all these animals get put down so easily. So cherish your pets if you have one, or if you get one, cherish them. I really feel like animals need to go back to its natural diet, because all of this food and crap is so messed up. And, you know, it's basically like a lot of pet food are like hot dogs. It's just a bunch of pig's lips and assholes grounded into, you know, a meat casing or some kibble that's not even real meat. And yeah, when we had to pick up her remains on Sunday, and then I pulled in, we pulled into this spot 22, and I was like, oh god dang it, Smittens, I just broke down again so bad, because that's just a very powerful number. And so I just could only take it as like a sign that it was meant to happen, to be in our lives. And I guess God is all in control, and we could know that on the human level it's really hard, but on the spiritual level there is no fear of it. The spirit has moved on. If the rainbow bridge is true, then hopefully she's in a very happy, healthier place. And unfortunately now she'll just become a flower in a backyard, because she's in a biodegradable box, which is just even, you know, how do I deal with that? I don't know. Sorry, I want to talk about it, but I guess I can't talk about it without getting emotional. In my daily life, I'm kind of fine. But just loving and honoring this cat and saying thank you. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you. And I'm sorry if I didn't do enough. I knew you were a little bit standoffish and kind of did your own thing. I hope you got enough love, and I know at the end when you started purring, you did. And I hope you were comfortable, and I'm sorry. Thank you. If you have any advice on this, would love to hear it. Have a good one. Bye-bye.